In this video, we're going to be going through all of the Star Wars The Vintage Collection bounty hunters and ranking them from worst to first. Hi there, Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, in this video, we're going to be going through all of the Star Wars The Vintage Collection bounty hunters and ranking them from worst to first, or worst to best, however you want to say it. So there's going to be a couple of rules that I'm sticking to in this video, and first of all, I'm not going to be including any of the deluxe figures. So I'm not going to be including the new Boba Fett in Tatooine, and I'm also not going to be including the Beskar Mando with the spiders in that larger set. This is just going to be the carded vintage collection figures from the standard run, basically. Now, in my list, I do have 15 to go through, and the one in front of you here isn't last by any means. I'm going to come on to this one in a second, but if you do happen to enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a like down below, because that really does help the video and the channel. And right, let's just get on to it straight away. So in 15th place, I do have Boba Fett in his prototype armor. Now, I'm not saying this is the worst by any stretch of the imagination. This is just basically here because I really didn't know where to put him with all the others. So I'm just going to talk about him. I don't want to rank him within the list. So let's just say that the list has actually got 14 in it. And this one, the 15th one, is one that I just couldn't decide what to do with it. And that's partly because it's like a prototype figure. It doesn't really fit in with the others. And I love the card back. I really, really do. But when I'm sort of trying to pitch him against some of the others, I really can't do that. So he's out on his own, prototype Boba Fett, and let's just get on to the actual list, which we're going to be starting in 14th place. All right, so we have two here that are in joint 14th and 13th place, and they are the original Boba Fett VC09. We have the Empire Strikes Back one here, and we have the Return of the Jedi one here. Now, this might surprise some of you why these are so far down the list, but, you know, there's a couple of reasons, basically. One is that we've got so many more figures and card backs, which I prefer in the line, and also we've got a brand new Boba Fett, which is exceedingly better than this one, basically. And when that figure came out, it really put this one to shame, essentially. And also, I'm not a massive fan of this card back. For me, this card back image should be on a Star Wars Chase. That was the original Kenner debut card for this figure. And essentially, as I say, the figure just doesn't really stack up anymore. The helmet isn't great on the Empire Strikes Back version. The Return of the Jedi version on, as you can see, is better. But as I say, we have got a figure that is 10 times better than this figure. And as I say, because of those reasons, the card back should be on Star Wars. The figure isn't great anymore. Both of these are in joint 14th and 13th place. In 12th place, we have Forlom on the Empire Strikes Back card. This figure is number VC10 in the line. Now, something that I also did forget to mention at the beginning of the video is that I will not be including anything from the Vintage Saga collection or anything from the Vintage Trilogy collections, which means Bossk and IG-88 are not going to be in this list. This is purely Vintage Collection proper only. So why is Forlom so far down in my list, with it being such a classic, iconic card back, which indeed it is. It is a great card back. I absolutely love the card back. What unfortunately holds this one back is the figure itself. For me, this figure isn't much better than the Power of the Force offering. It's very bulky. It almost looks muscly for me. And when the Disney parks released this guy here, I don't know if you can see him in the light here. This is a Disney sort of droid depot Forlom, or Zuckuss if you want to call him, whichever way round. It honestly depends how old you are, of course. But for me, this figure is such a great figure. It's much more accurate to the film. And yeah, for that reason, unfortunately, this version of Forlom gets put down into 12th place. Alright then, so moving on to 11th place in the worst first of all the bounty hunters in the vintage collection, we have the Mandalorian in his Beskar armor. Now, you're probably thinking, how on earth can this guy be so far down in the list? Now, there is a couple of reasons for that, and I'm going to go through them right now. So first of all, I really don't rate this card back, and I never have. It's really dark. I think they could have got a much better image for the Beskar Mandalorian. Secondly, I've never really liked the armor on this guy in terms of his Beskar armor. I've always thought that it was not silver enough, not shiny enough to be true Beskar. And essentially also, we've got better Mandalorians in the line, and we're going to be coming on to those later on in the video. So that is the reason for this one being so far down the list. Of course, with this guy being so far down the list, there really is only great figures to come up further on in the list. So as I mentioned, he's number 11, and he is VC181, if you're wondering. All right then, so into 10th place, we have Zam Wessel from Attack of the Clones. And I really struggled with this one, where to put it, because this is a really, really nice figure. You get loads of extra accessories, double heads, and the card back isn't bad either. It's just the other figures that I've got in my list I just prefer, basically. There's nothing wrong with this figure and card back combo whatsoever. Unfortunately, I do not have the figure loose. It is one that I would like to get loose, but judging by the detail and the accessories that you get, it does look a really, really nice figure. And there you go. There's the image of her on that card back there. So she's VC number 30, but as I say, this is the one that I was really, really struggling with in terms of where to put her in the list. And when you look at the other figures that I have in my list that are ahead of her, you know, there's an argument to say that she should have been higher up in the list. But it's my list, and you're welcome to let me know in the comments down below your lists and to give your opinions on my lists. And it's all down to opinions at the end of the day. All right then, so in 9th place, we have Singh from the Phantom Menace. She is VC 73. So there's no bad figures from here on in, basically. Look at this figure. It's an absolutely amazing figure. You get so many accessories with this figure as well. And again, it's one that I do not have loose. And if they were ever going to be re-releasing figures from the Phantom Menace, I would definitely want this one to be one of them. As I say, I don't have the figure loose. So look at that. Great looking figure. Really nice card back. I think one of the things that went against this one for me is that this version of the character, the Phantom Menace character, is a blink and you'll miss it character in the film. She may have been cut altogether. I really can't remember, but it's a great figure. Nice looking card back, but she is in 9th place. So this might shock a few of you here. We've got Django Fett in 8th place. Now, there's no denying whatsoever that this card back is possibly one of the best card backs in the entire line, in my opinion. It's right up there in terms of the card back artwork and the image that they've chosen there. It's a really, really lovely card back on that Attack of the Clones chase. But for me, it's the figure that brings this one down. I feel that they could really give us a brand new Django Fett. If you look at the Mandalorians that we've got most recently, with the Death Watch Mandalorian, the brand new Fett, and also we've had Bo-Katan as well. There's some seriously, seriously good figures that are Mandalorians. And for me, Django Fett is the one that's next on the list that needs to be revisited. This figure is not up to those standards at all anymore. And for that reason, unfortunately, Mr. Django Fett, you are in 8th place. But saying that, there's no denying that that card back is just beautiful. And in 7th place, I've gone for Shae Vizsla on the Expanded Universe card. Now, this one would have been higher up, I think, had I got the new version with the better head sculpt. That's what lets down this figure, is the head on this figure. But man, what a glorious card back. Look at that, absolutely stunning. And of course, you've got all of the accessories there. You've got a swappable head. You've got the fire effects. There's not a lot to dislike about this figure, except, as I said, for that head, but they are addressing that. So I can't vote that one any higher up at the moment because I don't have that one in hand. I'm voting on this one. So this one gets into 7th place. I mean, what an amazing bounty hunter in that glorious armor. She is a VC 101 in the line. Super expensive figure on the secondary market as well. Will she hold that value when the new one comes out? We'll just have to wait and see. I think, you know, the variant collectors out there will want it with that debut sticker and things like that. So who knows? But for me, she's in 7th place in the Vintage Collection Bounty Hunters. All right then, so in 6th place, we have Dengar, the Mandalorian with the child. This is the deluxe figure. This is an awesome figure, and it would probably be higher up in my list had the card back image been better. Once again, it's quite a dull image. It looks a little bit out of focus, but there's no denying that the figure for this one is absolutely amazing. And I prefer this one to the Beskar Mandalorian because essentially it doesn't matter that his armor isn't super shiny on this figure because it's all battle damaged and dirtied up, weathered. It's a great looking figure, and of course you do get the child with it, and you get the Camtono ice cream maker, little bits of Beskar, and also it's got the swappable head, so it's the only time that you've got Dengar with the helmet off, which is awesome as well. I've also got a very special place in my heart for this figure because my video review of this figure went absolutely mental on the channel, and it was viewed loads and loads of times, which is awesome, of course. Now, he is VC 177, which is also the number for the Incinerator Trooper, so we did have that little error there, but that doesn't matter. The figure and the card back is awesome, and as I say, it would be higher up in the list had that image been better. Alright, so we're moving into the top 5 now, so all of them from now on are going to be exceptional figures. I mean, to be honest, the whole list have been really great figures. Very, very difficult to choose my top 5, but In 5th place, I've gone with the Mandalorian, the standard Mandalorian. Now, for me, this is the look of the Mandalorian that I prefer. I preferred him when he was in his armour that was all like a mixture of different pieces of armour and all old and battered. Of course, he does look cool in his new Beskar armour, but I used to like him when he looked like this. And that image, for me, is iconic now. It's one of the first images that we saw when we were teased about it in various magazines and stuff. And I also think him walking through that market was one of the first scenes that we saw in the Mandalorian trailer. When I first got my hands on this figure, I did think that it was a step up for the vintage collection in terms of quality. I was blown away by how good this figure is. Now, since then, they've made a few more advancements with the hip joints and rocker ankles and things like that. So, granted, this figure could be improved upon, but this figure is near on perfect in terms of getting that look into figure form. I think they did a phenomenal job. And as I said, the card back image is great as well. VC 166 in the line, and he's in 5th place. And in 4th place, I've gone for Dengar. Now, why have I gone for Dengar so high up in the list? There's loads of reasons, really. One, he's from the original trilogy, The Empire Strikes Back. He's one of the original bounty hunters from that lineup on the bridge of the Star Destroyer. And also, it's a great figure. I mean, if you have this figure in hand, you'll know what I'm talking about. Of course, it could do with some improvements. You know, he has swivel legs and things like that. But the facial sculpt and the armour and everything on this guy is really, really good. The card back is an absolute classic. And of course, he's VC number 1. He's what started it all. Not counting the Vintage Original Trilogy collection or the Vintage Saga collection, which of course was the first time we got these vintage cards in the modern line. But this is VC number 1. He is the vintage collection proper. He's what started it all in terms of that run. So there you go, that's Dengar. What more can I say? He's a great looking figure, looks exactly like he does in the film, as you can see, and he's in 4th place. Right, so we're in the top 3 now, and in 3rd place I've gone for IG-11 from The Mandalorian. He is VC 206. Now, the card back image is a great image. I would say once again that it is a little bit out of focus, but sometimes I think they want to sort of maybe keep the vintage Kenner feel and do that kind of thing on purpose. But this guy is so high up mainly because of the figure. I absolutely love this figure. You can pretty much get this guy into any pose you like from that first episode of The Mandalorian, where essentially he is steaming through loads of green Niktos. It's an awesome scene. It was in the trailer as well. And until that moment, we'd never really seen what these IG droids could do. With IG-88 on the bridge of the Star Destroyer, he just stands there looking extremely cool. But with this one, we actually got to see what he could do. And the way his head moved and his arms moved and everything, you can do that with this figure. And I just think that's awesome. Also, with the Vintage Collection 1, he is accurate to the show, unlike the Black Series. They just repainted IG-88. We got an all-new figure, which is absolutely awesome. And for those reasons, he is number 3 in my list. And in 2nd place in my list, we have Fennec Shand from the Book of Boba Fett, or from The Mandalorian, whichever one you want to say. She's from both, but on the card, we've got the Book of Boba Fett. And I'm not going to say that's one of the reasons why she's so high up in my list, because it's not. It is the only figure that we do currently have with that Book of Boba Fett logo, and it does look pretty cool. And I do love the image that they've chosen. That image is actually from the end of The Mandalorian, that sort of sneak peek of the Book of Boba Fett that we got. But the reason this one's so high up in the list is purely down to the figure. This figure is next level for the Vintage Collection. It is a phenomenal figure. You have soft goods, you have a removable ponytail that you can put into the helmet when you swap the head with the helmet. You get 2 rifles. The paintwork of her hair and the head sculpt of the actress, for me, really does look like the actress. And you also have some of the best articulation that the 3 3/4 inch now has to offer, including the new style hips, which makes posing her so much easier. It really, really does. So for those reasons, Fennec Shand is right up there on my list. She's in 2nd place. So it's time to find out who is number 1 in my list of bounty hunters in the Vintage Collection. Alright then, so in 1st place I have gone for Boba Fett on the Blue Sky Return of the Jedi card. And let's face it, was there ever a chance that this figure was not going to be number 1 in my list? There are so many reasons why this figure is in 1st place. First of all, let's talk about the figure itself. And funnily enough, this figure is actually out of date, you could call it now. When you look at the figures that we've just got that have just come out, like the Death Watch Mandalorian, for example, the rangefinder on this Fett is not movable. It doesn't articulate. He doesn't have the new style hips. He has the old ball joint hips. But apart from that, this figure is near on perfect. It is so good, and it looks exactly how you'd want Boba Fett from the Return of the Jedi to look in 3.75 inch form. The card back is great. It exactly mimics the original card back from the original run of Kenner figures. We had all that controversy about the orange card and that they changed it, and did the orange card exist and all that kind of thing. But for me, the fact that this one exists with the yellow name pill on that original Blue Sky card, that's what makes this for me. And obviously the figure being so great is just the icing on the cake. He is VC 186 in the line. This figure will go down in history as being one of the greatest ever in the line, in my opinion, even though, as I say, the figure is now slightly out of date. It's a great looking figure. Such an iconic card back, such an iconic character, and one that we desperately needed updating and put in the line, and they did it. They did it. So congrats to Hasbro, they made a phenomenal figure. So there you go, that is my list of bounty hunters in the vintage collection, going from worst to first. That's how I rank them. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know your top 5 bounty hunters in the vintage collection and the reasons why. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. If you do happen to enjoy this kind of video, I do have other worst first lists, and they will be in a playlist, and I will put that link in the description below. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters and channel members. Your support is greatly appreciated, and it really does help the channel. Thank you all for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.